I'd like to read and record my first chapbook of poetry, Men Don't Dance in America. This is from 1984. I'll begin by reading the preface. American men don't hunt for food, don't build their own houses, don't till their own fields, don't dance. Since the end of World War I, more American men live in urban environments than in rural environments. Since the end of World War II, more American men have white-collar jobs than have blue-collar jobs. Since the Vietnam War, more Vietnam-era veterans have been in prisons than veterans of other wars, proportionate to the population at the time of incarceration. Since 1964, more Vietnam-era veterans have committed suicide than were killed in combat. In 1983, men with the highest levels of education had the highest rates of alcoholism. In 1983, more than 50% of all marriages will end in divorce. More juvenile delinquency comes out of single-parent homes usually without a father present. Men who abused children and women were abused children and had fathers who abused women. American men. American men must communicate support. Older men must pass wisdom to younger men. Men must learn the body knowledge. Men must remember how to dream. Men must dance. American men. All men are not athletes, but all men can dance to a drum. Dancing is not difficult, but necessary. American men. The physical frontiers of the earth are diminishing, and only the fewest elite can physically search the universe. But we men will find that the dream world is the real frontier. American men. These prose pieces are common and familiar expressions of the experience of men. Prose is chronological, reliant upon time and transience. The poetry is a series of attempts at timelessness. Poetry, like dreaming, is merely the present. American men must not and will not self-destruct. American men. So the first half of this book contains prose poems. First poem, The Father's Day Fire. Beth told me you burned the farmhouse. The thought of flames raged through my skull. I felt cold. I smelt charred timbers. I thought of your planning, your clicking chatter, your devices of ingenuity. You torched the farmhouse. I wanted to see the log walls, the polished oak floors, the chrome of your meat shop. I wanted you to rise at dawn, slow like the pond mists, and feed your stove from the woodpile. You had hoped to stuff sausage, to smoke fish and bacon, to bottle chokecherry wine. Instead, I inherit your dream to pass it on. The new blue roof, the leaded window, the large glass wall for southern light. I touch the musty dormers with their small trapezoid surfaces. How many immigrant Poles slept there cramped with dream vision and learning Minnesota. I peek in the basement at the barrels of stone and concrete and railroad ties, the reinforcing rods that would straighten the house to stand as true as you could make it. I listen to the still cistern water, as deep as our Yankee echoes. Imagine how much it could have told us after years of listening. I write of the fieldstone foundation, chipped mortar, the squared wall timbers, and the mystery of its earliest construction. Oh, how you thrilled when you ripped away wall boards, your arm and crowbar forged into one simple intention. Oh, how we marveled at the logs beneath that fit like a tight, hearty handshake. I'm selfish, Pa. I wanted you to refurbish that house. With dream sight, I see you with a grin, walking in the snow to the barn, blue smoke curling from the chimney, the morning sunlight sharp and as strong as bloodlines. You could never waste. You have reverence for the dreams of simple men who prove by their methods that men are not simple. My craft is of dreams, my own and others, some built, some spoken, some completed, some not, some in the dirt and some in the heart. You fired the wood. The bats had settled in long before you, and they would not leave. You torched the dream, but you said, you'll build a new house. In 100 years, another man will wonder, who built this house? When we didn't cut aspen. We brothers stood, chins up, to see which aspen to harvest, and the yellow trees gazed back with black, hollow eye sockets where their limbs had dropped away. We stole through dogwood, snooping for deer droppings and the gentle rabbit runways. There were none, until we broke the crust and found them hidden by the last snow. Knee-deep, the Pine County snow struggled against us, afraid to have its flat, frozen sea disturbed. As we stepped, the crust shattered, crumbling to small foot graves. Hole after hole recreated a linear cemetery where darkness filled each crystal tomb. At the oak tree, we climbed onto two arms and embraced them tightly to look south over the small snow-swept meadow, our faces like knobs on the bark. Everything you have put inside you is here, Dan, outside of you to know again, and it curls back into your body through openings. Your hunter's concentration is a drop of sweat wandering along a tiny crease on your brow. The faces of does you've spied are hiding just above your eyelids. The thrumming of a grouse is a ripple of your nostril hair when you breathe. The buzz of the chainsaw is the twitching of your lip as you face the wind. And your respect for natural rights blooms when you lick a small twig. I have found places which feel good, and one is in the city near Como Lake, at the peninsula, between the dreamy willows and the brusque pine, a place where my self stops and my heart flutters with a strange affection. No roots for me there, but the lines of the sky which pull me to the clouds. Oh, how the body knows a friendly place, how the body knows. It opens with wonderful comfort as it does to the right woman. The knowledge of the body cannot be tricked, yet I never trust it quite enough. I said, the Ojibwa knew how to feel places with their bodies. You said, if I die, I want to be cremated and my ashes buried here. Put a little fence around the spot, here in the woods. They have rules against burying a body, except in their own stone cemeteries, don't they? And I'd like to have a patch of aspen cleared. Cut the trees down. Give the stumps and me light. Then each stump can send 1,000 sprouts from its roots, so the deer can browse and the grouse find cover. We walked back to the pickup, fighting with the snow, lifting our legs high and making more graves. So we knelt and used our hands as paws and crawled on the crust. We skittered like snowshoe hares through the underbrush, sniffing and laughing close to the rotting black slits at the bottom of aspen trunks. You said, "Slide on your nylon jacket." I rolled onto my back and kicked against the forgiving snow and slid easily. What joy! Upside down, swimming with the sky through the woods. Then you too laid back and slid to play with your body on your snowy woodlands. How easy to crawl and slide and laugh like frisky otter souls, one earthbound, one fluttering toward the sky. Gramps. We two sat in the bourbon bar, or leaned over the rail at Cheetah's, the window covered by a green transparent shade, the light diving into a glass of white port, bounding off the metal handle of your wheelchair. Gramps, I pushed you from one saloon to another. How many women have we heard say, "Men drink and women cry"? Getting out of the car, you pushed your legless body with arms of bone and black skin, skin so discolored and thin. You pushed yourself onto the chair. I pushed you through Frogtown. I pushed you into the tavern. This Frogtown is the ruin of your years. Though the salvation of your youth, you wanted to be elsewhere. Now, I'm rushing about as you never did. You were slower, even the way you talked, by gum. I never made moon. You never smoked hash. I have never ridden over a prairie hill to find Sioux encamped with teepees, beating drums in a prayer. You never watched a woman trip and fall 2 stories while dancing to jazz and acid. Like you, she came dancing back up from the basement. Gramps, you patted my shoulders unsteadily. Your fingers, less the one lost to blood poisoning, shook uncontrollably. And when the ambulance attendant let your chair roll away down the street, when it tipped and you fell alone on the face of the city, you were helpless. You could no longer face Frogtown. I wear your long underwear in the winter now, the pair with the legs cut off at the knee. Only the breath of a single crab flower. In the late golden morning, Leonard bends over his tomato sets, his black fingers kneading the sugary blacker dirt of our shared new garden. The tweaked green stems shimmy with activity like toddlers in a cold lawn hose shower. How pleasant this morning with its absolute clarity and May specialness, which pierces the heart like intense nostalgia brought on by the nearly forgotten aroma of new oak leaves. As he plants his potatoes, eyes up in a line, I fondle the new apple blossoms, and I am drawn bodily into a canopy of sparkling white light and brisk fragrances. From next door, little Amy runs to ask for flowers. Her lilac bush has not quite bloomed. I reach into my palace of apple petals, pinch a sprig for Amy, and see Leonard smiling from the garden, just outside the white capsule of Amy's inquisitiveness. I bend to give her my branch of petals, and her auburn hair brushes my wrist as she lifts the pink-rimmed blossoms to her face. "Oh, Tim, I have to plant these." And she does, sticking the small stem into her mother's bare flower box. She dashes off to pick dandelions across the street and prepare a more plentiful bouquet. Leonard stands in the garden, holding his rake true. He speaks to me as a father. Some days he speaks as a son. The 28 years that separate us are only the breath of a single crab flower, sweetly washing the face of a girl. When Amy has forgotten the fragrance of the blossoms and goes rolling on a mound of sand, Leonard and I sit on the stoop and we soak in sunshine. With the bee's knees bopping. With the bee's knees bopping at the depot, ain't no room to stand still. All I gotta do is squeeze to the floor and dance with Italian twins. I ain't weird. I bump with both or one and watch the sax player pull his ditchwater hair, squitch his druggy eyes and howl. Jean has her blouse unbuttoned, shaking her insides out. Joan's tied up to her throat, only her fingers get loose. I'm squeezing in between. I ain't weird. I ain't weird. Pugo's pulling the sleeve of a platinum mama, older than he and I together. She's got a smile that hides her yellow tooth plate and high heels to tighten her loose ass. Her hubby's passed out in his own arms. Pugo don't dance. He flops like a critter, strung on a windy clothesline. Platinum moves with more grace than expected. She bobs like a bowl of peaches. Jean's on my left, Joan's on my right. The band is playing our song. It's finger poppin' time. I'm purple from sweat in the cheap dye of my shirt. My jockey shorts will look like they languished in wine, but gin and rye were my fuel. The next tune's a good one. It's an old one. It's the Wobble, and the drummer plays a metal sign. He holds it like a poster. It's a poster. It's metal. It says, "Ask a Marine." Wobble, wobble, wobble. Pugo and Platinum rumble and stumble. Jean and Joan divide me. My boots go one way, my heart another. Pugo and Platinum embrace. At a spring dance. I've overdressed again, and my armpits are wet. A breeze tickles the wrinkles of my knuckles. I ask for more. Conversations with old friends bore me, and the years have piled like humus. But I feel so sterile. No, not sterile, just unable to mate. Yesterday, I saw a necrophiliac mallard drake. He humped the body of a dead hen, pecked her scrawny neck after dismounting, then mounted her again. 3 times he tried to mate, feathered belly to feathered belly, an unnatural duck position. The female was washed to shore, belly up. Maybe she was fucked to death, for drakes mount females and force their heads under water. I don't know if I can ever tell anyone to get fucked again. Symbiosis. The San Diego Ballet Company is performing a cybernetic ballet entitled Symbiosis on KUAC public television. It's a collage and an electronic story of a ballet within the microtronic memory of a computer bank. I sit in this Alaskan kitchen with the popcorn pan, Ohio blue tip matches, my blue jean jacket with Minnesota patches. The 3M cassettes scatter on the floor like a brood of infants, and headphones umbilically attached to the Japanese component system. The color TV flashes pedal-like motions of dancers in filtered poses, overdubs of shadows, and the disciplinary grace of the ballet. The Mack truck cap with a stain across its label catches the irritant hum of the Kelvinator as it clicks on. The TV pictures fuzz all the more. Then the program has gone into my past, stored in the Akashic film, and in another canister to be aired another day by the computerized satellite system. In the bay window, I can see reflected TV lights, small flashings in the glass to my right. To my left is my own reflection, at an angle mathematically defined. It seems I am always looking outside and seeing myself looking back. But this is a double-pane glass window, and the reflection is out of sync, and my beard in one reflection is on the chest of another. It's all too much. I'm not even a holograph. I can't get myself right. I am just light on a window screen with shadows and overdubbing. The Diabetic Hunchback. Sitting bent, I reach out with tidy fingers to steal a piece of candy. It's my jar and my candy. It's okay for the woman across the hall to nibble her mints. Not me. I keep still. My heart seeks sugar. A tiny flame is in my veins, but the distance through which I reach cools my flesh, and the flame is not sufficient. The frosty, mobile neighbor cannot give me the sugar I crave. I wonder, how can I get it? The feedlot owner. Where calves suckle, he cocks his knee and mounts the fence rail. From Bull Durham, cigarette smoke lifts like a blue tulip. There is water, 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 and more congestion in his fields. A nodule of mud from the toe of his boot dissolves in the water. He watches. Rot, rot, and more shit in the feedlot. He wheezes. Black nodes and tiny bubbles. He wheezes. Black odes and tiny whiny bubbles. A calf's lip squeezes the pink tits for milk without bubbles. Hardy Gullickson. Hardy sits in his American Motors Matador, his slack old arm out the window in the breeze. Through the windshield he sees springtime greens and young blue skies and thinks his dead dog is beside him. Somewhere below on the street, ants carry information to their anthills. They shuttle back and forth on foraging patrols. Somewhere above, in a jumbo jet, hordes of travelers sip coffee or cocktails, leaping time zones in hours. He's never moved that fast. The Matador's engine is barely an idle, but his grip is sweaty on the wheel. His heart has filled with a new, salty sadness. It rolls in his arms and into his throat. Oh yes, he cried when his wife died drunk, blank in the snowdrift beside their fence. He had fallen drunk in a stupor on the TV room floor, but this too is as bad. He no longer drives, but sits in the car at the curbside, idling the engine of the rusting machine. Then he simply goes back into the garage. He can think of nowhere to go. Do you know the man who wears four coats? Do you know the man who wears four coats? Every day, whether winter or not, he leans on the painted brick wall of the Colonial Cafe. He never gets cold with a long storm coat and 3 jackets beneath, and he never speaks. He sniffs the traffic like a frightened squirrel. His uncommonly small head ripples from the top of his obelisk, his cloaked body. His hands are tucked into his belt. His arms flap like featherless wings to carry him across Dale Street. In August, he replaces the storm coat with a Seaway denim jacket. Yes, it's over the other 3 jackets. He still wears trousers under strapped overalls and rubber buckle-over shoes over work boots. Each Sunday he goes to Como Park for free music, and an ice cream cone. His youth must be somewhere beneath his wrappings. And as he walks home in the evening, the long monumental shadow he casts reassures him of his power and his timeless existence. And finally, at 10 p.m., when he's in the dark walking up the stairway to his room, he knows assuredly that the shadows he casts are so large and extended that the earth sleeps each night inside his power. Spiritual blackjack. Who's in the spiritual blackjack? Hit me, again. 19. Losing with a plethora of deuces. Strut to the John of the Esquire Lounge. Drop a quarter into the slot, then another, and a condom slides down for the payoff. Who's off into spiritual black, Jack? The house brand is Birkenberry. It's second rate, but hit me. I'm losing again, but hit me. Don's tipping the jugs in front of the mirror and singing of Holy Jesus. He's squeezing lemon into his own spritzy water. Hit me. This carrying on is abysmal. It's like stepping into the cathedral for Sunday noon mass, like making impressions at the communion rail. Blackjack swimming is a rush, like a host laid gently on the tongue by Monsignor. Hit me, Jack. My favorite piece is dishing it out to pool dudes. This is spiritual black, Jack. And the dealer pays on 21, and that blonde has a speck of hard mascara falling on her lip. She's numb. She can't feel it. She's in debt to Benny. She's into doodah. She's playing the spider with Funky Butt. Take it away, 'cause I don't like it no how. Lady, pay your man on the avenue. Hide your tail in Burnsville. Oh, doodah, zippity doodah, hit me. Straighten that ass and squeeze it. Remember what the leper said to the hooker? Keep the tip. Doodah, hit me. And the dealer out the door is watching tricks, doing sticks with I Ching. Manipulation for the saint, Jack. Rattle the sticks. Shake the sticks. Scatter them out for doodah. Hit me. And the sticks hit 21. 3 sevens for the abysm, and the queen don't win. Spiritual blackjack wins once more. The odds are always his, but hit me. Doodah, hit me. That's the last of the prose poems. So this is part 2 of my first chapbook, Men Don't Dance in America, published in 1984. Men don't dance in America. Men don't dance in America. We don't celebrate solstice. We forget about rites. Only the clergy remembers and makes stale processions. We refuse to dance unless we're half in the bag. Then we do it badly and stumble. If we dance for ourselves to reggae or a Sundance, we wouldn't move like tree stumps. Dancing for men ain't panty waist. Dancing is the library of our bodies. Dancing is the history of our souls. But we're not like Lakota or African Zulu. We don't understand the beating drum. White men don't dance in America. Dancing is motion that's more than emotion. It heralds men into the dream world. Dancing is immediate, the negation of age. It carries us into our boy joy. It's boy joy. It's boy joy. It's boy joy in its joy. It's the sweat lodge, the jungle, and Caribbean midnights. It's voodoo and rapture. It's war and it's silence. It's really swimming naked in the sunlight. It's the ball field, the ice rink, the pitch, or the ring. Ask Sugar Ray, the G-Man, Wayne Gretzky, Baryshnikov, or Gene Kelly. White men don't dance in America. We men aren't just Shriners in little tasseled caps beating a drum on parade. We're not mere penguins at the inaugural ball, in tuxes, in bow ties and spit shines. All that's political. It's crap without joy. It's kissing the asses of bosses. Sure, dancing is sex, the expression of sex, and joy of our manly power. We are the drummers. Each man's a musician. We play for ourselves and our women. Still, white men don't dance in America. Sure, some men dance with women, or other men if they're gay. But we don't dance alone or together. And dancing must be more than mating. Where is the ritual? Where is our right? Where is our manhood and pride? My Gramps danced when he trapped a raccoon. My Pops jigs for crappies. When he's fishing on ice, he's dancing through crystals. He's moving with the joy of his gender. I drift outdoors just after midnight and swing like a hunter through shadows. I dream dance in snow and slide in the fogs, pirouette through cornfields and birch groves. Yet we never dance together. Men don't dance in America. Dancing is living. It's flying like raptors. It's born on the wind of its making. Put 10 men together, dancing with pride, not meekly, nor floppy, but surging with joy, and the trees will shake with concurrence. Put 500 together, proud on their feet, proud of their lives and families. Mountains will march to watch that grand feat. The clouds will part for the sunshine. Nothing on earth can beat like the drum that thunders the hearts of strong men. And nothing will express the force of creation like dancing men in America. Dancing is joy. It is joy. It is joy. And the earth won't deprive men of joy. But men don't dance in America. Men don't dance in America. Men will dance in America. Willpower like a bone. Willpower like a bone can turn off the interior talk. Pine needles like a visual fuzz scratch the sky. In the diamond hole of the yellow fence, a spider tickles its web, where it folds its legs to look like a captive in its own flimsy creation. Two rippling sounds. Woodpecker on a hollow post. Turtle surfacing, diving. Up like a U-boat, down like a penguin, with sneaky wobbles into the lily pad patch. The blue lake weaves a wing of the scarlet dragonfly to the hummingbird's feather. It designs an ornate lid for its eye. How can it do that? With willpower like a bone needle. In Minnesota, we wear leather. In leather, I swagger, not ruthless or nasty. With my jacket of hide and my new brushed leather, I am the animal. The smell of processing, the light tanned color, the tactile sturdiness and the leather's emanations focus a keen strength to my flesh. Elsewhere, maybe in the tropics, I would wear a silk shift in light moon-colored cotton to sit in the shade of eucalyptus and wait for a chance to fly. Now I understand why Buddhists refrain from wearing leather. I dream heads of men. I dream heads of men like buttons on a cactus, with their faces turned away. On picnic benches, in lines of silence, their heads spray small hairs into a sunny afternoon breeze. As I walk to shake the tattooed hand of the man I like least in this world, his eyes transform to bright red holes, but he shakes my hand softly, as tentatively as a caterpillar searching a leaf's edge. Then we respectfully smile before I awake with an anchor of fear in my belly. After the screech. Alone, I hear the styrofoam cooler screech on linoleum as I carelessly bump it. A dead spider is on the windowsill, unhearing. Despite all the caves beneath dead leaves, despite the nooks in pine cones, the spider died on dust-stained aluminum with its eyes toward the sunshine. I have neither grief nor sadness, but something I feel and cannot know swells behind my breastbone. A silvery sweetness pours from my torso and finds a handhold on birch knobs. The walls of leaves pull at my body, and a goldfinch flies beyond me. Turtle Shell Shaman. A turtle shell lies in the swamp grass, hollowed by carnivorous bugs. The jawbone sleeps deep inside where the turtle retracted its head to die. As I run my finger on the armor plates, a cellophane covering crumbles. I shake the shell. It rattles its jaw, and I feel the turtle shell shaman cross in front of the sun, on a cloud, riding with his hands free, extended high in turtle fashion. There are stripes on his face, orange and black. His arms are sinewy paint and animal lightning. He is silent. His shadow passes. Only the gnawing breezes and the intimate buzzing of insects echo in the shell. Dream dancing. I've been dream dancing for so long that I can dance while I'm awake. But I can only dance in the darkness or fog. With Therese, I could fly over the grass and through dripping trees on a wet Friday evening. And alone, I can drift in the slow, graceful circles when people turn off their lamps and go to bed. I'm outside on the street, touching the stars and thin clouds, kissing humidity or leaping on raindrops. If I walk the halls at the highway building on my night shift, once I get away from the odd fluorescent light, my dream dancing wings fold out of my neck, just beneath and behind my ears, on both sides of my spine. With delicacy I walk in the black tunnel and exit sign bloodlight. My wings' tips so slightly brush the cool ceramic wall tiles, and all the time my wooden boot heels clatter far below me. The winds of Marfa. Through Marfa's narrow sewered streets, mounts clatter and the children yowl, running home in the dusk light. A priest's bell rings with raw, cold reverence. The goats and yak and caravans belly up to mangers. Marfa is stone, it's wool and water. Marfa is dusty whitewash. Marfa latches itself like a jeweler's case to be locked away from demons. A Tibetan inn with a charcoal brazier draws men as gullies draw water. Its candlelight and lanterns glow, red and fierce Mongol faces. When a muleteer arrives for night sanctuary, snarling words lift with smoke and slip through the doorway to join demons. But I am safe in the corner, fed with dalbat. I have salted coffee on my tongue. It's the only friend to my silence. In the morning, when I tread the rising trail that would lead me to holy Muktinath, the winds of Marfa blow to me. The dust on my lips, dust on my eyes, like the illusions of 10,000 words. From Gandaki's gorge, the earth's great slit, and Dalagiri's glacial spittle, the winds of Marfa blow to me and batter me with more dust and dust with light. Through walls of mossy vines and over terraced paddies, past the clefts of a monsoon avalanche, on the steep stones and paving blocks that were smoothed by the hooves of burros, across foaming cataracts through pilgrim camps where old Hindus rest on the path to Muktinath. The winds of Marfa collar me. They are old astral traders. Through the mountains, the gorges, the ice and the steam, through the villages Gorapani and Tatopani, Gasa and the quiet Larjung, along the river Thakkola and up the Jomason Trail, the Marfa winds have stirred to life at 10 a.m. exactly. One power in light, one power in gravitation, ancient Atman energy. The gale howls into holy caves carved in the rocks by seekers. A black eagle screeches on the leeward cliff. His eyes are fierce with God. His sadhu voice praises the wind. His wings wait. He's patient. Across the river, in more monastic chambers, far above stupas and prayer wheels, miracles turn men to stone. Himalayan winds are never anger, nor swift birds of prey, but rather carrying angels sweeping our turmoil face to face with solitude. In Nepali light, cold desert light, that's yellow, long, and fear-eyed, I face the earth's most eerie powers alone like a diver through clouds. Then night comes, black beyond all black, and the void is sifted easily. With solicitude I become more than one man, 10, 50, 100 men. Each am I, and I am each, all separate stamen of a dry brown flower bursting from its seed pod. Our prayers rise and pass through walls. The planet spins like a hook into morning. The winds of Marfa gather light, and the dawn creates much leaner shadows. A viper dies near a cactus flower, and sands nibble away its sleep. Only then at 10 a.m. we soar through the cracks in the mountains. We harness the snake and rein the eagle, and are pulled through a cauterizing glare. The winds of Marfa blow through us, our lips of dust, our eyes of dust, our light, our dark, and wind. Men and women. We men go someplace, to another place, alone. But women bring places to themselves somehow. Places fill their busts and shoulders, landscape their bellies, and blaze trails on their flesh. New places come. Under their chins, new routes of travel bring more places to women. We men haven't learned that places move. Men run cockeyed, always going somewhere. We've yet to know that our energies crease the plane of places, rip away the flat warmth of places. Men turn and leave ice trails. The poems from the chapbook, Men Don't Dance in America. Poems by Timothy Young, illustrations by Sam Simmons.